Our next guest is a frequent motivational speaker and is a firm believer in you are only as old as you feel you are. Joining us now is James Flaherty, and James says he's 88 going on 58. James, can you expound on that?
Absolutely. I tell friends all the time, I have no plans for waking up on the wrong side of the grass anytime soon, because, if 50 is midlife, then is what they call midlife, then I'm still have another 12 or 15 years to go or more,
Absolutely. I tell my kids all the time, I'm going to live till I'm 113. So you may be right there with me.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
You've written a book called Embrace Your Age. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's the most recent of 4 books, actually. I wrote 2 fiction novels and then 2 nonfiction books about aging cheerfully and productively. I have many friends. I have a lot of, obviously, being 88 years old, I have a number of friends in their 80s, many in their 70s, many in their 60s and 50s. But I see people starting with age 50, retreating from life, saying, "Oh, life is over. I don't know whether I can cope with it. I'm feeling old," and they are actually retreating from the joy of life, and it really annoys the hell out of me. So, seeing it in so many friends, people that were binging on too much TV traumas and dramas, I wanted to give them reasons for coming back to look at every day as a gift. Because every day is a gift. It's an opportunity to look, see, sense, smell, taste, touch, share, love, give. So I wrote a book about that. And it's not unlike fiction where you are writing, it's showing your skill as a writer, perhaps. It's more of a conversation. Every chapter starts off with a question, and it's more like Jim saying, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And let's have a talk about it.
So what gives you that optimistic outlook on life?
Part of it is when I was very young, when I came to New York straight out of college in 1957 and got my first job, I was so far down I couldn't see the bottom rung of the ladder. I took home $200 a month after taxes. And I remember being thrilled that I was in New York and earning a living and learning something every day. And I found a quip by Noel Coward, of all people, and I embraced that. I did it then, and I still do. Work is more fun than fun. And I really loved it. I loved the whole idea that we are not created to float around a pool with a margarita in our hand. Although in my later years, I had the opportunity to do that. But even then, I found that 20 minutes of it, and then I'd say, okay, that's enough. I've got to go produce something. I've got to create something. Maybe it's because I am a creative person, but I was married, had 2 babies. We did those things back then in that era, unlike millennials, when we were young and very poor. I don't know what the hell we were thinking, but we went ahead and did it. When I was earning $9,000 a year and living in Flatbush on the last stop with the IRT, we were having our second child, kind of thing. But I worked hard, and by age 33, I was in my first corner office job in New York. That was pretty hot stuff now that I look back on it. Since big money wasn't really part of my plan, because I wasn't raised with big money. My father had died when I was very young. He was the district attorney of Miami. I was born and grew up in Coral Gables, Florida, before air conditioning. So I have a completely different viewpoint of the tropics. I lived my whole life. We did not have air conditioning. So people said, "How could you live?" I said, "We didn't know it. Only movie theaters were air conditioned, nothing else."
Yeah, you didn't know any different.
Yeah. What the hell's the difference? It didn't matter. It was fine. Life was good. I was fortunate in that my mother losing the man she loves. And she was still very young. She was a very smart, wonderful woman, and she taught me a lot of good things. And some I still remember them, and I smile at them because I know that I still do them. She said, every morning of your life, you're going to have to greet your biggest critic, the highest wall you have to hurdle, the most difficult person in your life. It's that person in your bathroom mirror. And you can either say, good God, another day, or smile bravely and cheerfully at that person and say, good God, another day. It may sound a little cornball, but I do that. I say it to myself. Maybe I don't. Maybe I say it before I get to the bathroom mirror, but I do say every day, good God, another day. Thank you. Another day, another opportunity to be present, to help someone else, to try to think of helping at least one person, expecting nothing back in return. Besides all the other stuff you have to do. And I'm a stuff person. This is my daily schedule. I mean, this is a couple of weeks of what I have going on in my life right now, and that's attached to my monitor so that I have it as a reminder every day of all the stuff I have to do.
Well, you can't go anywhere anytime soon because that's a long list.
It's fine. It's fine. I gave a TEDx talk in October, flew out to Seattle for that. And then in November, I went to Modern Elder Academy, a group I really love. They have a campus in the Baja of Mexico, and they're opening a new campus in Santa Fe. I may end up teaching a couple of workshops this coming year for them. I love those people. They're quite wonderful. So besides that, besides the facing the enemy, the person in your bathroom mirror every morning, and establishing a relationship with that person, he tells me when he's not particularly happy with my performance, and I listen. I also was raised with the golden rule. That is an old saying that started way back before Confucius and evolved to rather awkward language. The current golden rule, as we know it in this country, is do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And I thought, as a writer, as I got older, I thought it's a great idea, but the language is poor. So with two baby girls to raise and to raise myself, I rewrote the golden rule. And it's very simple. You get what you give. And I explain it this way. If you give a sympathetic ear, a loving hug, a meaningful smile, a generous heart, you get it back. It all comes back to you. If all you do is bitch and complain and demand and moan, that also comes back and bites you, you know where. So I say to people who are telling me how difficult their life is and how hard things are, I say, if you could try to simplify life a little bit and put it into this: give good and you get good. Okay?
I love that. I think I'm going to borrow that if that's all right with you.
Be my guest.
We have about 30 seconds left, so I've got to ask,
okay.
What advice do you have for people who are feeling old?
Okay, well, I remind people that as of this moment, you are the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you'll ever be. So don't waste the rest of the day or the rest of the week. Have a plan. Give it a purpose. Think of what you could or should be doing. Form a purpose in your head and do it. I love the iconic George Burns. On his 95th birthday, a reporter asked him, Mr. Burns, do you ever worry about dying? And he said, I can't die now. I'm booked. And I say that to people too. I'm booked, for God's sake. I have an awful lot to do on my schedule, and let's not take too much time. Let's talking about nothing. Let's get it going, shall we?
Thanks, James. Really appreciate you sharing your story today.